Good evening, friends. We continue our reading of First Samuel tonight. We're starting chapter 27. So we're down to the last 5 chapters tonight. We won't read them all tonight, but we'll make a dent in them. And we'll see where we are, which will shape how quickly we'll get through this at a future time. Let's start as we always do. While I'm pulling this up, remember, post a greeting, share a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so yet, and feel free to share as you wish. The big picture of the books of Samuel. Now, we're looking primarily at First Samuel right now. We'll get to Second Samuel. There might be a little bit of a gap between First Samuel and Second Samuel. There probably is going to be. And that's okay. There's something nice to remember about these two books being one, but they are no longer. And the stories are connected, but different. The great irony is that Samuel is only in the first, not in the second, and yet it bears his name. First Samuel is the story of Saul, primarily, along with Samuel, and along with David. Second Samuel is absolutely the story of David. Saul is no more, neither is Samuel. So here we are, friends, in this largest section of First Samuel. Like I said, we're starting chapter 27. So we are building up towards a moment where Saul and the army of Israel will be defeated. Saul will be killed. So also Jonathan will be killed. And there will be a transition in power, which, as you'll see when we get into Second Samuel, is not quite as nice, neat, and tidy as now the house of David is in charge in place of the house of Saul. It's a little bit more complicated than that. But that's Second Samuel. We'll get to that eventually. For now, we focus on First Samuel, chapter 27 being our starting point tonight for these last 5 chapters. I'll be reading from the left-hand column, which is a Jewish Bible. The right-hand column is a Christian Bible. There are moments when Christian biblical language and Jewish biblical language don't quite sound similar. So I'll use the right-hand column, the New Revised Standard Version updated edition, primarily to explain those moments in the complete Jewish Bible where Jewish biblical language sounds to some degree different than what we are accustomed to hearing as Christians. Get my timer up here in the corner, and we'll jump in and read. The last 5 chapters. Resuming here at the opening of chapter 27. But David said to himself, "One day Saul, will sweep me away. The best thing for me to do is to escape into the territory of the Plishtim, the Philistines. Then Shaul will give up trying to find me here or there in Israel's territory, and at last I'll be free of him. So David set out with his 600 men and passed on to Achish, the son of Maok, king of Gath. David lived with Achish, he and his men, each man with his household, including David with his two wives, Ahinoam from Yisrael, Jezreel, and Abigail from Carmel, Nabal's widow, Nabal. Shaul was told that David had escaped to Gath, whereupon he stopped searching for him. David said to Achish, "If you are now favorably disposed toward me, let me have a place to live in one of the cities in the countryside. Why should your servant live in the royal city with you?" That very day, Achish gave him Ziklag, and that's why to this day Ziklag belongs to the kings of Judah. After David had been living in the country of the Plishtim for a year and 4 months, he and his men began going up and raiding the Geshuri, the Jeshurites, the Gizri, the Girzites, and the Amalekites. From ancient times, these people had lived in the land in the direction of Shur, all the way to the land of Egypt. David would attack the land, leaving alive neither man nor woman, but taking the sheep, cattle, and donkeys, and camels and clothing. Then he would return and go to Achish. Achish would ask, "Where were you raiding today?" And David would answer, "Against the Negev of Yehuda, or against the Negev of the Yerachmeli, the Jerahmeelites, or against the Negev of the Keni, the Negev of the Kenites." The reason David spared neither men nor women to be brought to Gath is that he thought, "We don't want them telling on us, saying David did so and so." That's how he conducted his raids for as long as he lived in the country of the Plishtim. And Achish believed him. He said, "David has caused his own people, Israel, to despise him utterly. He will be my servant forever." In due time, the Plishtim assembled their armies for war against Israel. Achish told David, "You know, of course, that you and your men will join me and the army in battle." David answered Achish, "I see that you already know what your servant will do." Achish said to David, "For that reason, I am making you my personal bodyguard for life." Now Shmuel was dead, Samuel. All Israel had mourned him and buried him in his city, Ramah. Also, Shaul had expelled from the land those who tell the fortune by communicating with the dead or with a demonic spirit. See in the right-hand column, that's listed specifically as the mediums and the wizards. The Plishtim assembled. They went, then they went and pitched camp at Shunem, while Shaul gathered all Israel together and pitched camp at Gilboa. When Shaul saw the army of the Plishtim, he became afraid. It struck terror in his heart. But when he consulted Adonai, Adonai didn't answer him, not by dreams, not by Urim, and not by prophets. Then Shaul said to his servants, "Try to find a woman who tells the fortune by communicating with the dead. I want to go and consult with her." His servants answered him, "Yes, there's a woman in Endor who tells the fortune by communicating with the dead." So Shaul disguised himself by wearing different clothing, went with two men, came to the woman by night, and said, "Tell me the future, please. Bring up from the dead the person I name to you." The woman answered, "Here you know what Shaul did, how he expelled from the land those who tell the fortune by communicating with the dead or with a demonic spirit. Why are you trying to entrap me into causing my own death?" But Shaul swore to her by Adonai, "As Adonai lives, you will not be punished for doing this." Then the woman asked, "Whom should I bring up for you?" He said, "Bring up for me Shmuel." When the woman saw Shmuel, she let out a shriek. Then the woman said to Shaul, "Why have you deceived me? You yourself are Shaul." The king replied, "Don't be afraid. Just tell me what you see." The woman said to Shaul, "I see a godlike being coming out of the earth." He asked her, "What does he look like?" She said, "An old man is coming up. He is wearing a cloak." Shaul realized it was Shmuel, so he bowed with his face to the ground and prostrated himself. Shmuel asked Shaul, "Why have you disturbed me and brought me up?" Shaul answered, "I'm very upset because the Plishtim are making war against me, and God has let me and doesn't answer me anymore, neither by prophets nor by dreams. This is why I've called you, so that you can let me know what to do." Shmuel said, "Why ask me? If Adonai has left you and become your enemy, Adonai has done for himself what he foretold through me. Adonai has torn the kingdom out of your hands and given it to your fellow countryman David, because you didn't obey what Adonai said and execute his furious anger toward Amalek. That's why Adonai is doing this to you today. Adonai is giving Israel as well as yourself over into the power of the Plishtim, and tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Adonai will hand over Israel's army to the power of the Plishtim." Shaul immediately fell full length on the ground and became terribly frightened because of what Shmuel had said. He had no strength left in him, for he had eaten nothing all that day and night. The woman approached Shaul, saw that he was panic-stricken, and said to him, "Here, your servant listened to what you said. I put my life in my hands and did what you requested me to do. Now, therefore, please, you listen to what your servant says. Let me put a little food in front of you. Then eat, so that you will have some strength when you go on your way." But he refused and said, I won't eat. Then his servants, together with the woman, urged him, and he heeded what they said. He got up off the ground and sat on the bed. The woman had a fattened calf in the house. She hurried to slaughter it. Then she took flour, kneaded it, and baked matzah with it. She served it to Shaul and his servants, and they ate. Afterwards, they got up and they went away that night. That, friends, is where we will pause. And next time, we'll pick up at chapter 29. I'm going to have to look, but I'm going to say there's probably a good chance that the next time that we read from First Samuel, we may very well complete First Samuel. 3 chapters. We'll see. We just did 2. So we might do all 3 in the next setting, and that might even be tomorrow morning. We'll see. Blessings on your evening. Peace to you throughout the night. A blessed Sabbath to us and to all God's people.